Imagine you are traveling through the sunny south of France. Suddenly you see it, rising from the plains of the Aude like something plucked from a storybook. This is Carcassonne. Its silhouette, with countless towers and turrets, pierces the blue sky. It looks almost too perfect to be real. Many people say it is the greatest medieval fortress in all of Europe, and when you see it, you will understand why. It is a sight that truly takes your breath away, promising adventure and history. This is not just a castle, it is a whole fortified city, a cité waiting to be explored. As you draw closer, the sheer scale of Carcassonne becomes apparent. The massive stone walls seem to whisper tales of centuries past. You can almost hear the echoes of clattering hooves and the calls of watchmen from long ago. It feels like you're stepping onto a film set, but this is no replica. This is the real deal. The warm Languedoc sun beats down just as it did on the knights and pilgrims who walked these paths before you. The air buzzes with a unique energy, a blend of ancient history and the lively chatter of today's visitors, all eager to discover its secrets. The first impression is one of immense strength and incredible beauty. The stone, a warm honey color, glows in the sunlight. You will notice the pointed, conical roofs of the towers, so characteristic of the region. Carcassonne is ready to share its magic with you, inviting you to wander and wonder at its enduring splendor. The story of Carcassonne stretches back much further than the Middle Ages. Long before the knights and troubadours, this strategic hilltop was already recognized for its importance. The Romans were here. Around 100 BC, they fortified the existing Gallic settlement, calling it Colonia Julia Carcasso. They understood the value of this location, overlooking the vital trade routes between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. You can still see traces of their work in the lower courses of some walls, those distinctive Roman bricks and stonework forming the very foundations of the mighty fortress we see today. These early fortifications were crucial. They established Carcassonne as a defensive stronghold, a role it would play for many centuries. Imagine Roman legionaries patrolling these very ramparts, their eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of trouble. The Visigoths followed the Romans, taking control in the 5th century. They too added to the defenses, strengthening the walls and towers. The layers of history here are truly remarkable, each civilization leaving its mark upon the stones. The Golden Age of Carcassonne, the period that most defines its image, arrived in the High Middle Ages. During the 11th and 12th centuries, the powerful Trincavel family ruled here as viscounts. They were instrumental in expanding and strengthening the fortifications. They built the Château Comtal, the Count's Castle, a fortress within the fortress. This was their home and their power base. Imagine the vibrant court life within these walls, filled with nobles, knights, and perhaps the famous troubadours singing tales of chivalry and love. The Trencavels made Carcassonne a formidable and prosperous center. However, this era was also marked by profound religious conflict. The Languedoc region was a stronghold of Catharism, a Christian belief considered heretical by the Catholic Church. The Trencavels were known for their tolerance, offering refuge to Cathars. This put them in direct opposition to the Pope and the King of France. This led to the Albigensian Crusade in the early 13th century, a brutal campaign aimed at eradicating Catharism. After the Albigensian Crusade and the fall of the Trencavels, Carcassonne came under the direct control of the French monarchy. This marked a new and significant chapter in its architectural and strategic development. The French kings, acutely aware of Carcassonne's position near the border with the Kingdom of Aragon, part of modern Spain, invested heavily in its defences. They were determined to make it an impregnable royal fortress. This period saw the construction of the second, outer wall, creating the iconic double-walled fortification that we marvel at today. King Louis IX, also known as St. Louis, and later his son Philip III, Philip the Bold, were particularly influential. They employed the finest military architects of the time. Their goal was to create a state-of-the-art defensive system incorporating all the latest innovations in siege warfare. This included strategically placed towers, advanced gatehouses, and clear fields of fire. The Royal Engineers transformed Carcassonne into a symbol of French royal power in the south, a formidable barrier against any potential aggressors from the Iberian Peninsula. The construction of the outer enceinte or wall was a massive undertaking. At Section 5, two walls are better than one. The mighty double ramparts. The most striking feature of Carcassonne is undoubtedly its double line of ramparts. These concentric walls, stretching for nearly 3 kilometers, are a masterpiece of medieval military architecture. Imagine the psychological impact this would have had on any approaching enemy, seeing not one but two massive stone barriers, studded with over 50 towers and barbicans, must have been incredibly intimidating. This design was not just for show, it was a highly effective defensive strategy, making a direct assault incredibly difficult and costly for any attacker. The inner wall is the older of the two, with sections dating back to the Roman and Visigothic periods, later heavily modified by the Trencavels and the French kings. It is higher and more robust, forming the main line of defense. The outer wall, built primarily by the French royals in the 13th century, is lower. It served as a first line of defense designed to absorb the initial shock of an attack and to keep siege engines at a distance from the more critical inner wall. Section 6. A Jewel of Faith, the Basilique Saint-Nazaire et Saint-Celce. Nestled within the protective embrace of Carcassonne's mighty walls lies a spiritual heart, the Basilique Saint-Nazaire et Saint-Celce. This beautiful church is a stunning example of architectural harmony, blending Romanesque and Gothic styles. Its origins date back to the 11th century, with consecration by Pope Urban II in 1096. Though much of what we see today, particularly the Gothic transept and choir, was added in the late 13th and early 14th centuries under French royal patronage. It is a place of serene beauty and profound history. As you step inside, you leave the bustling medieval streets behind and enter a world of cool stone and filtered light. The nave is predominantly Romanesque, sturdy and grounding, with thick pillars and rounded arches. It feels ancient and solid. Then, as you move towards the eastern end, the church blossoms into glorious Gothic. The choir and transepts are filled with soaring vaults, slender columns, and, most impressively, some of the finest stained glass windows in southern France. Section 7. Saved from oblivion, the Great Restoration. By the mid-19th century, the once mighty Carcassonne was in a sorry state. Having lost its military significance centuries earlier, the fortress had fallen into disrepair. Stones were being pilfered for other buildings, and there were even official plans for its complete demolition. The magnificent Cité, a jewel of medieval architecture, was on the brink of being lost forever. Thankfully, a savior emerged in the form of the renowned architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc. He was a leading figure in the Gothic revival movement and passionate about preserving France's medieval heritage. Alongside the writer Prosper Mérimée, who was then Inspector General of Historical Monuments, Viollet-le-Duc championed the cause of Carcassonne. In 1844, he was commissioned to undertake a massive restoration project. This was a pioneering effort, one of the largest and most ambitious historical restoration projects ever attempted at that time. Section 8. Why we still flock to Carcassonne. A timeless appeal. So, why does Carcassonne continue to draw millions of visitors each year? What is its enduring magic? I believe it is the unparalleled opportunity to step directly into the past. It is not a museum exhibit behind glass, it is an immersive experience. Walking those cobbled lanes, touching the ancient stones, and gazing out from the battlements allows you to connect with history in a very tangible way. You can almost feel the presence of those who lived, worked, and fought here centuries ago. It sparks the imagination like few other places can. The sheer completeness of the Cité is astounding. It is a living, breathing medieval town with shops, restaurants, and even a few residents still living within its walls. This blend of history and daily life creates a unique atmosphere. You can wander for hours, getting lost in the maze of narrow streets, discovering hidden courtyards and picturesque squares. Every corner seems to offer a new photo opportunity, a new glimpse into a bygone era. It is a place that appeals to all ages, from children dreaming of knights and castles to history enthusiasts eager to delve into its complex past. Section 9. Your Carcassonne journey, an unforgettable experience. Visiting Carcassonne is more than just ticking a box on a travel itinerary. It is an emotional journey. There's a profound sense of awe as you stand before those colossal walls, a feeling of connection to the countless lives that have unfolded within them. It is a place that makes you reflect on the passage of time and the enduring power of human creation. I encourage you to plan your own adventure to this remarkable corner of France. Allow yourself to get lost in its ancient streets and let its stories seep into your soul. Take your time, do not rush through the Cité. Linger in the Basilique Saint-Nazaire, absorbing its peaceful atmosphere. Walk the full circuit of the ramparts if you can, imagining yourself as a watchman from centuries past, gazing out over the lands below. Explore the Chateau Comtal and learn about the Troncavels and the sieges.